Hello, good morning or good afternoon. Welcome to the London Food Network podcast, where we explore the stories, struggles, and successes behind the food and drink brands shaping our industry today. I'm your host, Sebastian, founder of the Fresh Fish Shop and Embrace AI Consultancy, the show's sponsor, where we help food and hospitality businesses scale smarter with automation and AI-driven growth. We're diving into something very unique, the world of Belize Blue Nutrients. This is a company bringing together science, sustainability, and the power of the ocean to create natural, nutrient-rich products that supports both people and the planet. We'll explore how they're harnessing marine minerals, how their process supports eco-restoration, and why Belize might just hold some of the most exciting natural resources in the world. So let's get into it. This is the London Food Network podcast, and here's my conversation with Christina Kinder from Belize Blue Nutrients. Hello, Christina.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, very well. Christina, let's start with yourself. Tell me a bit about you and what your story is and what brought you to our conversation today.
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's wonderful to speak with you and to also speak with you about Belize Blue Nutrients. Belize is a unique country. I was introduced to it in 2018 on a National Geographic tour of the Mayan temples. From there, I met some amazing people. The tour guides are all Belizean, and one of the tour guides in particular was quite helpful with my mother-in-law during the snorkeling adventure. Found that she was really quite a nice young lady. She wanted to be in the Coast Guard, so my daughter and I started mentoring for those programs. In the meantime, she found this unique seaweed training, seeding, and harvesting program in the traditional Mayan way of seeding and harvesting along the mangroves. And it was a really fascinating program. The person that was heading up the program was the director of the Placentia Cooperative. He's also he has a master's in science, and he's been working with the UN for over, the UN sustainability goals for over a decade. And so when I read his program about training the seaweed farmers in Belize, and also he took the training to another level where it was actually our the drying processes of our seaweed, which is sun-dried. There's no additives, no chemicals, was unlike anywhere else that I had ever found, because it was a unique way of drying it, which actually brought the moisture content down to a very low level, which made it shelf stable. And also really the dense nutrients and minerals is really what spoke to me as well about this whole program, and bringing those minerals and nutrients out to the rest of the world to help with our gut health and our gut biome, all that. Long story short, so I fell in love with the program. I really enjoyed what he was training the other farmers to do. And I decided to invest. I decided to invest and buy property in Belize. We have the training facility in Belize. And from there, that's where we're at now. We're very excited about bringing this unique minerals and nutrients to the rest of the world.
Make it sound like it was as if it was all just one simple transition, and here you are. But I'm sure there's more to the story than that, Christina. So first of all, what is your actual background? And what's been your kind of career history, I guess? What were you doing before all of this?
Well, I was doing a lot of philanthropy work, and I recognized early on that when it came to donations, oftentimes the people at the end of the donations wouldn't get those donations. You would have these different foundations that you would give to, and oftentimes near the end of the day, the people that needed it most never really received any of those monies that they needed. So I was actually myself searching for some kind of program to invest in, to really focus on boots on the ground and how our investment, or I should say our donations, really do help the people that it's supposed to be helping.
When was it that you started the project, or at least let's go back even that, the idea of the concept you've now created? When did you have that idea exactly? How long ago, and how long did it take you to kind of get something in place and get it going?
Well, I really started this in 2020 actually. What happened was, again, I went to a National Geographic tour and fell in love with Belize and the Belizean people, the Belizean culture, the food, absolutely. And I realized that when it comes to philanthropy work and donations, and looking at this program that was being enacted there in Belize, I realized that my contribution would directly affect the people that I'm hoping to help. So I realized early on that by assisting the Belizean community directly has a larger impact. And now we see that larger impact. And that's really what we were looking forward to doing, is really affecting the people that needed it most, and seeing how providing trade ability, teaching trade skills, or allowing them the ability of not only learning this trade, but learning it under our practices, so it brought them to a higher level when it came to a premium sea moss product, was beneficial not only to the Belizean community, but also actually was a benefit to us here in America and worldwide, because of the dense nutrients and minerals that are found in Belize, where you can't really find it anywhere else, because, you are looking at the second largest barrier reef. That whole area, lots of that area is actually protected. It's a World Heritage Site, which is protected by UNESCO. So we seed and harvest along those areas, which is known as one of the most biodiverse and pristine waters in the Western Hemisphere.
Well, I mean, let's talk more about Belize, because I'll be honest with you, I had to Google exactly where Belize was, because I'm sure, I've heard of Belize, of course, and I knew roughly where it was, but I don't know anything about Belize. And I was just looking at the map now. So it's next to Guatemala, but is it its own entity, or is it still part of Guatemala?
No, Belize is Belize is one of the only English countries there in Latin America. So they were an English colony. And
Interesting.
I believe in 1984 was when they were able to get their independence. Yet they're still an English speaking country, and they still, I believe, follow the same systems as the UK. So it's
Really?
fascinating, because when most people think of Belize, they think, well, we need to learn our Spanish. No, they are an English speaking country. So it's very unique in of itself.
And the culture must be fascinating, because you say that the food was particularly insightful for you and something that you really enjoyed. Tell us more about that then, because it can't be very British. British food is not known to be of any particular excellence.
Well, I hear what you're saying. And that's what I was fascinated by about Belize, is because their food, right? The food is unique in itself, that it's, when you think about organic food, the food in Belize is organic. You're looking at soil that hasn't been hit by some of the fertilizers and chemicals that our soil has here in America. So you have a unique situation where you have, really enzyme rich soil, and then you have your agriculture on top of it. So you're getting those real nutrients, enzymes, that is really a fresh product. They don't have GMO there. They don't have some of the challenges that we have outside of Belize. So the food is really clean. The way especially the way they approach seaweed, you'll find them eating seaweed directly from the ocean. We dry it and then you rehydrate it. People have learned to blend the rehydrated seaweed into a gel, but literally in Belize, they actually use the rehydrated seaweed in their everyday food. They don't blend it necessarily. You can put it in your ceviche, you can put it in your salsa, you can put it in your pizza or your spaghetti. When you blend it, really is it's a unique single ingredient additive to any recipe. You can use it as a thickening agent for your sauces, for your soups. You can use it
Mm.
in plant-based foods. You can actually replace your eggs and your gelatin for your thickness and for your moisture. Really, sea moss is a 5-year new industry here to most of us. So we're learning all the different ways in which we can incorporate it into our foods. And when I say single ingredient, sourcing is really important for our ingredients and our recipes nowadays, I believe. And when you're thinking about sourcing, you want to go to a source that is a clean environment, that has the ability of grabbing those local nutrients and minerals that you can't find anywhere else, that our body needs for our health and wellness journey. So when you think about, again, going back to your recipes, and instead of using maybe cornstarch or flour or gelatin or eggs, you actually have a single ingredient that's really well sourced, that creates a functionality to your food. You have your food, but now you have a functionality of an additional nutritional superfood impact into your food that normally, with the normal recipes, you wouldn't normally see, because you'd be using your corn, or your gelatin or some other additive to create that thickness. Here, you're using a single ingredient source. It's from the Belizean waters, which are, again, known as one of the biodiverse and pristine waters in the Western Hemisphere.
People use the seaweed more for cooking and its kind of functionality, or is it more because of the actual health benefits that you get? Or is it a case of both?
I think it's a case of both. I think, in the Belizean society, again, they use it for numerous things. They use it for your smoothies and your coffee. It is a prebiotic. It's known for uh, your gut health, your lung detox. There's antioxidants in there. You have your magnesium, your phosphorus, your zinc, your copper, your iodine. You have so many amazing minerals and nutrients. You have your trace A, you have your vitamin Bs, and you have your calcium, you have your amino acids and your proteins. So, Belizeans have been using this, for centuries in their food.
Yeah.
And so the added benefits they've already realized. Here we're just realizing what those added benefits can be for our food. And because we also are offering a golden sea moss, which really the way we dry it actually allows itself for barely if any scent and barely if any taste. So it really blends well into any recipe.
So, walk me through how it was to set this up over there, Christina, because again, it can't be that easy to set up this kind of operation because there must be many, many things to consider, especially if you're harvesting from the sea. It's a protected area. You're dealing with a country that's perhaps not so developed and logistically connected, labor, workforce, machinery, potentially limitations. I mean, it can't be that easy to have set this up.
No, again, I started this in 2020. We were first looking at this as a nonprofit and really to help the Belizean community and the Belizean farmers. When you think about the Belizean farmers, the farming group, you're looking at the 80-year-old grandmother to the 2-year-old and everybody in between. So for us, it was really focusing on that nonprofit, getting the Belizean community to a trade skill, a marketable trade skill, knowing that there at that point was potentially a market for this superfood. We started with the nonprofit, realized that a retail component would actually be beneficial to the Belizean community because we do give some of our proceeds back into the Belizean community. So we did decide to pivot to a for-profit. With that being said, it has been a very interesting experience for sure. I bought property down in Belize. The property is where we have our FDA registered facility in Belize for our drying facility. It's right now completing our organic certification, which actually all of our core principles we follow right now. We're basically weeks away from an inspection, and pretty soon we'll have that certification as well.
Oh, nice.
So that's very exciting, but it has been a long process with laying down the groundwork with, we had to do, hundreds, if not thousands of pages of SOPs, special operating procedures for our training program. And along the way, we also were noticed by the Belize Fund for a Sustainable Future. Now, the Belize Fund for a Sustainable Future actually works with government and non-government entities as a partnership, as long as our focus is on, conservation, climate change, research, creating a safe haven for the ecosystem there, especially because we're the second largest barrier reef, of course. And with that being said, because of our practices and how we do our training program, we are a proud recipient of a Belize Fund to assist with standardizing sustainably the seaweed industry for Belize. So we are in partnership now with the Belize Fund, the Belize government. And then along with that, of course, we have our phyto certificates. We work with the Ministry of Health. We do all the necessary steps that we need to ensure a premium product, which means we have our product liability, of course. We do our third-party testing, of course, again, with our FDA-registered facility. So a lot of what we do in Belize is a concentrated focus on not just training, providing a premium sea moss product, but we do all of our R&D down there as well. So we're in R&D for gummies. We're in R&D for single-serving sea moss. There's so many different R&D programs we're under right now, but what we do is we take that R&D from Belize and we have partners here in America. So we've scaled our program from Belize to here in America to accommodate our clients here in America. So we work with a lot of B2B clients, and they do require our raw and our powdered product. So we felt it important to scale here in America. And the people that we work with here in America, especially in our powder facility, they're SQF. It's an SQF facility, which is a safety quality facility, which is a very highly rated facility to ensure the purity of our product. So it's been a fascinating road from the idea of this is an amazing program. Not only can we help the Belizean community, but the Belizean community is going to be helping us with our health and wellness movement moving forward. So Marrying the two has been quite a bit of a learning process, but it's always been well worth it because the bigger picture has always been health, wellness, how we impact the Belizean community, how the Belizean community can grow from assisting the world with their health and wellness journey.
So explain to me more how you can scale this, because I presume you say you farm the seaweed, right? It's not something that it's something that you harvest, or how does that process work?
Well, the process, so what we have is we have several farms out in the Keys. So you have the Caribbean Ocean. We are in southern Belize, and we're near where the second largest barrier reef is. And our farmers go out to the Keys, sometimes 20 miles out. And in the Keys, you have these little islands, right? And there you have your mangroves. So you throw you have your seedings along the mangroves. So you seed and you harvest in a particular way. Farming, when you think of farming, it's not industrialized farming. It's traditional Mayan farming. And how they do it along the mangroves is for the dense, you have area specific ash along the mangroves, in the area, the second largest barrier reef, which is a World Heritage Site, which is protected by UNESCO. So you have your
Yeah.
pristine waters, you have your biodiversity there. So when you go out and you seed and harvest along the mangroves, you're again getting an area specific ash of mineral and nutrients not found anywhere else. We then take our harvest, and again, we follow the organic certification programs. We follow and adhere to those core principles. When we bring it back to our FDA registered facility in Belize, where our drying facility racks are, we do rinse it. It's very important to rinse it. We have spring water, and how you rinse it is where you're actually, getting rid of some of if there's any residual salt water, any of that. It's very important how you rinse it. And it's also very important how you dry it. Dry ours longer than most people. I find that drying it down to an 18% moisture level allows the product to be not only shelf stable, but in some cases, when you rehydrate the product, you can get 20 or 30% more gel. And that's a very important aspect for people that are looking at this on the resale value. So you can buy, one product and maybe get 66 ounces of gel, and you can buy it or another product and get 20 to 30% more. Buying is important. It also helps with mold, so you don't have mold. And again, our product is of a premium quality. So our processes are very, very finite and very scrutinized for the main purpose of, no mold, really no scent, no taste, really shelf-stable product, and a rehydration to where, again, 20 to 30% more is important.
What's your kind of plans with this scaling, and who are your customers going to be, and how are you going to reach them? And is it more going to be a kind of retail thing, retail ready packs, or are you providing the actual raw material for other people to produce products from it? What's the kind of entry to market with all this?
Well, thank you for the question. We actually are working with several large B2B clients right now. So they're using our product in its raw form. We send it to them. We have clients in Colombia, in the UK. We have clients in Taiwan. We have clients in Mexico. We have clients in America and Canada. We have clients all over the place. And what they're doing is what we call white labeling our product. So we send them our dry product in bulk, and then they create their sea moss gels, their sea moss gummies, their sea moss drinks from our product. We also realize the value, again, going back to the core belief of we have a superior product, we have a superior location, we have minerals and nutrients you can't find anywhere else. So it really should be, we really want the rest of the world to know about it, even on a retail level. So we decided to pivot from not just our B2B clients, but also now to work with retail clients. So we are presently about to be launched for our raw
Right.
product for the ease of a lot of clients, because the rehydration process of the dried, there's a lot of different steps. It's fairly easy, but some people just like absolute ease. So we decided to come out with a powdered product. Now the powdered product is very easy. You just take your 1 or 2 teaspoons and you mix it in your coffee, your smoothie, your food, your whatever it is, whatever recipe you want it to be, and it instantly, it's instant gratification. So we're bringing that product out on Amazon. We're presently in a couple of locations, retail locations in New England. So we do have a retail presence with brick and mortar. We do have a website. We are launching on Amazon, and we do work with a lot of B2B clients. Again, though, we're excited about doing the retail aspect of it. That way people can come directly to us instead of having to go through a third party. And then they can come direct and get absolute, immediate, nutritious seaweed for any of your recipes.
Nice. And so just so I know as well, so from a retail point of view, so if I was to buy this from a store, it
Yep.
comes in various formats or only as powder at the moment?
We have it in dried and in powder. Right now, we have it in dried. We should be in our stores, in our retail stores in New England, um, by the end of this month, or the latest by the end of this month. We should be in the next couple of weeks, and we'll have the offerings on our website by the end of next week.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
For the powder, we do have the dried already, but for the powder.
And what's better? What's more versatile? What's better for kind of everyday use and why?
Well, it's that's a subjective kind of question. I say that because when you think about your dried product, we speak about rehydrating in spring water, but you can also rehydrate your dried product in plums, right? You can boil some plums and then you have your plum water, and then you can rehydrate in plums. You can rehydrate it in your pineapple if you want to have your fresh pineapple, and you boil your hot water, you get your enzymes, your bromelain enzyme from your pineapple, and then you use that to rehydrate your seaweed, right? You're getting basically a huge superfood with that. So the rehydration is a great way of experimenting and utilizing other components to create even a larger superfood. Yet at the same token, the powder is very easy to use. You take your 1 or 2 teaspoons and you mix it into whatever you need to mix it into for your recipe, and it's completed. So they're both good. But what we do find, truth be told, right now is we're sold out of our powder in Belize. We can't make it fast enough. But
Oh,
for
wow.
our global clients, that's why we've scaled our powder production to a partnership here where we're able to do a much larger scale to accommodate everybody's needs for the powder.
Incredible. And I mean, it's funny really because it seems like such a basic thing to do, but at the same time, no one really. I mean, seaweed products have been around for a long, long time, right? Of course, but nobody really ever thinks about that on this kind of level. At least I don't think about buying some form of seaweed powder to add to my foods to make it better, for
Y
example.
Well, for sure, and that's why this is a 5-year new industry. Really, people became more interested during COVID for health benefits, and that's
Right.
really where a lot of this had sprung, was from COVID, and people really learning about the benefits of seaweed. I mean, if you were to go on the National Institute of Health.gov, it explains there's so many studies about seaweed, sea moss. Our particular species is called Euchemia cottoni. We're golden version of Euchemia cottoni. So there's numerous studies about the health and wellness benefits of this particular, they call it a sea vegetable, right? So if you're incorporating vegetables into your recipes, you're getting an added superfood bonus to your recipes. So when you think about where this, the dense minerals and nutrients of seaweed and then incorporating that into your recipes, it is a new concept. And that's why we're here to spread the word about the values and benefits, health benefits of seaweed to your everyday diet.
And what kind of challenges are you going to have along the way in order to scale this? Is it more of a production? Is it more of a harvesting problem? Logistics, demand?
Well, I think we've really addressed some of most of the challenges that we've encountered. We have a strong handle on our supply and demand. We have a strong handle on what our existing B2B clients require on a monthly basis. We have an idea of what our new clients are looking for when it comes to our powder. It's been this past couple of years has been an incredible learning curve on all of that. We're fortunate that we actually, as a woman-owned business, we were able to get an incredible discounted shipping package from DHL. So we have we locked in our shipping packages. We've locked in our supply and demand. We've locked in our partnerships here in the States. We are working with another large R&D facility here in the States that we're under R&D right now for our gummies and our single serving of our sea moss gel packets. So it's been a process. I feel fortunate that I have an amazing team around me. I have not only my business partner, my Belizean business partner, who, again, as I mentioned, he has a master in science. He's worked
No.
UN and the Nature Conservancy for years. He's actually been asked to be part of the COP30 Brazil climate change conversation coming up. I think it's next week. So he's a guest speaker. So I have so many smart people that are surrounding me and guiding me. My board, my advisory board, and my partners, and of course, all the attorneys. So I've been very lucky with that. It's been a process, but I am very lucky that I have very smart people that are surrounding me. And together as a team, we've been moving this forward. So we had a lot that we had to contemplate, but we're now in a very good position to be able to not only service our B2B clients, but also our retail clients, which is very important.
And what's your North Star? If you look at yourself in the next 12 to 18 months, where is it you'd like to be?
Well, that's a really great question. We started this with the idea of having it being a nonprofit, and we're now gravitating towards the nonprofit. We want to see our retail, our for-profit up and running smoothly, and we're almost there. And we feel confident that our customers are going to be very happy with what we have to offer. And we're very excited about going back to focusing on our nonprofit, because the nonprofit really is a focus on the Belize, the Belizean, our Belizean seaweed, the environment, the agricultural environment, the
Mm.
ecosystem. That's really very important, because without having clean, pristine, biodiverse waters, we're not going to have this product that's going to help our health and wellness along the way. It's wonderful that we have it now, but to continue having it for generations to come is really the focus on how you maintain a sustainable seaweed and harvesting operation to withstand, generations, so it can always be offered. So really our focus is to pivot back into the nonprofit and really continue with the programs that we're doing there in Belize and assisting the Belizean farmers.
And Christina, tell me, because we briefly touched on this via email, actually, but actually I forgot to discuss it with you before the podcast itself. But you've given me some wonderful photos and a video, which I'll obviously make part of this podcast with the edit. But you also mentioned that you might have 20 pouches of some samples to give away to some of our listeners. So should we talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. It is again a brand new industry. So people are now hearing more and more about seaweed or sea moss drinks or sea moss this. And we find that it's really important to get your hands involved, right? So here's your seaweed. Here's your golden seaweed. And to get your hands involved in it, to understand the product, you need to play with it. And we encourage people to play with it. And that's why we'd love to give some free samples out, so you have a chance
Brilliant.
to play with it on our website, bluenutrients.com. We not only have some amazing articles about the health benefits, the health and wellness benefits, from thyroid all the way to your lung detox, all of that. We also have some great recipes, original Belizean recipes. And we're very excited to share this amazing health product to the rest of the world, for sure.
I'll put on the feeds as well at the end of the podcast when I edit it, how to get the samples, and obviously it's limited, so whoever gets there first will receive. Nice.
Exactly.
Did I get one as well, Christina?
Yes, well, I really appreciate this opportunity. For us, it's really important to reach out to as many people as possible. We want to be able to offer them this amazing health food, the health product, this amazing superfood. We're always available for conversations, and we'd love to give out samples so people have a chance to play with it and understand the bigger picture, for sure.
Wonderful. And can you just maybe take a moment now to give us more information? I mean, I will post this as well, of course, on all the channels, but where can we find the information? Where can we find out more about Belize and its farming of the seaweed, and any other information that you'd like us to be able to access? Where can we get it all from?
Thank you. Yes, it's very easy, actually. BelizeBlueNutrients.com. We have videos, we have our farming videos, we have pictures, we have our recipes, we have a lot of articles on health and wellness. We have whatever you're looking for is on our website. So it's Belize Blue Nutrients. You're always able to locate us and get as much information as you would like. It's really detailed. So we look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us there, and we'll always be available for the answers.
Wonderful. Well, Christina, yes, a lot to digest actually, and it's an angle on food that I haven't covered at all yet, and probably won't cover much more either, because there's not many people doing what you're doing. I know in the UK there is a lot of work with seaweed, but it doesn't tend to have the same impact in terms of health and the mission you have. And I think actually they struggle a little bit as well with marketing it or at least putting it to market, because I think seaweed, people just kind of associate seaweed with maybe this kind of seafood connotation or this kind of like sea taste or smell. And oftentimes many people can't see through it. So I think it's nice to know that the products that are out there that you are providing, for example, don't seem to have this kind of connotation of a very kind of sea-like texture, smell, or feel. It's much more neutral, right?
It is, and I appreciate that. Again, it's a 5-year new industry, so people are learning more and more about it, and we're grateful that people are beginning to understand the positive health impacts of seaweed. And it really does come down to sourcing, though. Sourcing does matter. When you're looking at your seaweed, you're looking at your sea moss product, where do they source it from? And when you think about pristine cleanliness, biodiversity, a specific ash, the warm waters of the Caribbean is really where it's at. And we're very
Nice.
fortunate to be in this position to be able to offer this. So we're very excited. And we know it's going to be an educational process. So we'll have more blogs, more educational articles on our website, which we already do right now, but we're going to continue with the educational process for sure.
Is there anything else that we've not covered, Christina, that you wanted to share with us?
No, you've covered quite a bit. We're excited to be able to be on your podcast. We're excited to be able to reach out to people and explain more about seaweed. We thank you for this opportunity, very much so.
Wow, Christina, what a fascinating story. Really appreciate this podcast. That was Christina Kinder from Belize Blue Nutrients. What an inspiring conversation about sustainability, innovation, and the power of marine science in food and nutrition. Christina has really kindly asked me to add a small video showcasing all of her work. So hang around after this podcast to see the wonderful work Christina and her team are doing right now in Belize. Also, we are giving away 20 samples of some of Belize Blue Nutrients that Christina has very kindly put aside for the first 20 of you to either comment on our YouTube video or email me directly at Sebastian at embraceaiconsultancy.com. And we will get these samples out to you. I believe we are restricted to the US or the UK for the samples, but do get in touch if you want to have a taste. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. It really helps us grow the community. You can also follow the London Food Network on LinkedIn, where we bring together founders, makers, and innovators from across the country, or from across the industry even. And finally, big thank you to our sponsor, Embrace AI Consultancy, where we help food and hospitality businesses streamline operations, automate marketing, and grow sales with intelligent AI systems. I'm Sebastian Candle, your host, and that's me for now.
The goal of the project is to create a self-financing, sustainable, and mature seaweed industry for Belize. So the 5 objectives of this project are to develop the comprehensive quality control training program, to train and certify 22 individuals using that program, to develop and market 2 new seaweed value-added products to help diversify income and contribute to the new seaweed industry fund. And of course, we're going to create the blueprint of the seaweed industry fund to allow for future capitalization. And finally, we're going to promote collaboration and garner support from the Ministry of Home Affairs and New Growth Industries. By doing so, we're going to be contributing to the development of the mariculture sector, which has been identified as a priority for development under numerous plans and strategies for Belize. We're going to be tackling the issue of low seaweed quality and also a lack of sustainable financing for small-scale farmers. This project aligns very well with Belize Fund thematic area number 4. We're going to be teaching farmers how to maintain quality once they've harvested the seaweed, and that includes how they deal with the transport vessel, how they deal with the harvest equipment, how they deal with the drying, and making sure it's not under-dried, over-dried, or not subjected to bacterial or chemical contamination, all of the things that would otherwise negatively impact the quality of the seaweed. In addition to the training in quality control, we're also going to be creating a new and sustainable source of financing, and we're coining it as a Seaweed Industry Fund. That fund will provide grants to farmers to start up farms, to rehabilitate farms, and it will also provide strategic grants to support organizations. Where this project is going to be focused or based is primarily in Independence. However, there will be several site visits to Turnef in Saddle Key or Channel Key area and Lark Key. So we're often asked about, sustainability and replication of these types of projects. The innovative collaborative process that we're going to implement will see revenues from the sale of the newly created value-added products continually feed into the Seaweed Industry Fund, right? And we have the ability to add new products that feed even more into the fund. Now, in terms of the training, the program will have been embedded within the structure of Blue Nutrients as a company. So we will continue to offer that under our extension services. And of course, we can expand the program as new technologies and stuff, come to the forefront.